Alright, this is the generic universal ladder rack that everyone's seen on eBay in 100 different places and at discount ramps and Northern Tool and Harbor Freight. Near as I can tell, it's all the same thing. And what it turns out to be is a Hallmaster 800 pound capacity full-size truck rack, item number 98511. And the only difference between installing it on a compact truck like this 2000 Ford Ranger and a full-size truck is that the full-size truck, there are some risers that go in here that bolt in with these two bolts, and then this rack bolts with one bolt onto the riser. That's just to give you additional room for cab clearance. Compact trucks, you shouldn't need the riser. I've got a 6-foot bed on my Ranger. And that's where the clamp ends up. And these uprights, in the back it's fixed because you have to bolt the handle in, so that's all stationary, but the front will adjust, and then you just clamp it down with these pinch bolts. 6-foot bed, it ends up about here. 8-foot bed, you're going to be up here. If you've got a Hummer or a Sport Track SUV truck, which is nearly worthless, I don't know why you'd have it, but if it works for you, whatever. The problem is you're going to have it right about here, and this plate holds together this front section where it slips inside of the rear section. So you're going to have some trouble unless it happens to hang up right here. But then at that point you have all the support back here and all that weight cantilevered over the front, and that's not a good thing. Fit and finish. I had to lift this up a little bit, bend it up to get that bolt in, and this bolt is at a bit of an angle downward because it was welded off a little bit. I had to knock some slag out of the insert inside this tube, but I got it together. I'm not really disappointed in these J-hooks, but I wish they would have had a little bit more hook to them, because on my Ford Ranger I run out of threaded area here before these are clamped down really tight. So I took the ratchet straps off, but currently I'm using ratchet straps to hold this thing down until I can get these things bolted on. An installation note, actually this is way off because it's loose. When you install this, make sure you can close your tailgate, because the first time I put it together I had these back too far and I couldn't actually shut my tailgate, so watch out for that. Also, you might want to have an angle finder to go between here and here to make sure that it's not over to one side one way too far. I did a lot of measuring and got it right. The time it took me to assemble this while watching my 3-year-old daughter was about 3 hours. Now, if I would have had help from an adult, especially a mechanically inclined adult, I probably would have been 2 hours, but I did this all myself, nearly. Daughter helped with a couple of bolts, but you don't necessarily need help, but it's nice because it's not heavy, it's just long and awkward. So it would help a little bit there, but you can do it yourself. A couple of things I don't like is the fact that there's not a nylon lock nut here. I'll be upgrading that in the future. And then in the back, there's no lock washer for this, and there's no lock washer for this. But that's going to get a lock washer. That's going to get a nylon lock nut. And this rear bar, I carry motorcycles, and this is a fixed rear bar. To remove this, you got to take 3 bolts out of each side. These 3 here. That's really inconvenient, so what I'm going to do is probably cut it here and make a sleeve that'll slide over it, and then I'll have 2 pins that go through it on each side, so that bar is quickly removable. One thing I did not install on this that came with it was another bar. There's another bar you can put in here or in the front depending on what you're carrying, and it just has a C-shape thing on each side. Then you can pinch bolt that together. I don't have it here with me. I'm probably not going to install it unless I have to. The whole thing weighs about 170 pounds. It's about 140 inches long, including the handle on the back, and the width varies. There aren't very many good dimensions online for it. because the height varies depending on whether you use the risers and how far the legs are out, because the farther out the legs are, the lower it's going to be. Geez, that's an excited horse. But you know, you can get generic dimensions online in any of the places I had mentioned, and I found the best price to be Harbor Freight. And since I figured they're all the same, I shouldn't have to worry too much about the fact that it's from Harbor Freight. Usually Harbor Freight stuff is junk, and it's cheap. There are a few exceptions, this being one of them. So I got it for $249 plus tax at Harbor Freight, and that was the cheapest by about $60, and it was on sale. But you just got to watch for it to come up on sale, or find one of their 20% off coupons. It happens all the time. So I'm happy with it. A couple of bolts, washers here and there I'm going to upgrade, and then I'm going to have to get rid of these J-hooks and bolt it down. But overall, I'm very happy with it. Some of the welds aren't the prettiest. I could have done better, but for me to buy all the metal and spend all the time fabricating it, it's easier, more cost effective for me to just get one and buy one and then slap it on. So I don't have the pile of failed dreams R&D trying to build one myself. So there it is on the 2000 Ford Ranger. It should fit just about any vehicle you have, long as the bed's, you know, not 4 foot long or a step side.